Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. I said about a couple of days ago that I would not be filming until I found reliable internet and electricity. If you guys don't know, I live in Puerto Rico and Puerto Rico is going through a lot of earthquakes right now. So I'm gonna link below some of the organizations and nonprofits that are working to just help the people right now in Puerto Rico that are suffering a lot. Thankfully, I am in an area that was not that affected by the earthquakes, but the south of the island has been very affected. So I will link some of the people that are really helping to just save and provide a better care for all of these people who lost their homes and lost everything. So please donate if you can. If not, please spread the word. We really need help. So yeah, finally I have electricity and I have internet, so I am bringing you guys my favorite books of 2019. I'm a bit late. I'm about 11 days late. This time around my list is a lot smaller. I have become a very, let's say, picky when it comes to just choosing my best books of the year. So I have about 7-ish books in this list, and some of them are objectively very good books. Some of them are not, but I really did enjoy them and just made me fangirl. And yeah, the first book that I really want to mention is The Paper and Heart Society by Lucy Barry. I did not expect this book to be on my favorites, but it's just such a good, feel-good kind of read. This book follows Tabby. She just moved out of her hometown and moves in with her grandmother. And it's a new city. She does not know or is familiar with this new town that she's in, but she goes to the library and just to find a bit of, I don't know, solace or entertainment. And she ends up finding a sort of slip of a book club run by these other teenagers and just saying that, inviting people to join. So Tabby does join and we get to follow her as she not only deals with the things that she left behind in her previous town, but also just finding new friends, and just, it's great. I feel like the thing that I just enjoyed about this book so much is the characters. The characters really stood out to me and I just fell in love with them, and I was just so happy to pick this book and get to see them again. I guess this book also contains a trigger warning for bullying. Bullying is one of the main conflicts in this book because Tabby is running away from a bully that, well, bullied her in her hometown. So it's just about friendship, and it's just such a sweet story. It's very bookish, so you can totally tell that this book was written by a fellow booktuber because it's just so, it contains so many good references of books that we already know and love. So loved it, great, and it definitely deserved a spot on my favorites of the year. The other book that I really want to mention is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. This book just follows a hobbit and he lives a very comfortable life. However, one day a wizard comes to visit him and invites him to an adventure with 13 other dwarves, I think, to reclaim their kingdom after it was taken away from them from a dragon called Smog. I think I nailed it. This book felt so just fun to read. I think that that's the best that I can describe it as, fun. Every time that I sat to read this, I felt giddy and I felt happy to see these characters again and to see what this adventure brought for them. And it's great. I loved it, really enjoyed it. A thing that I really didn't enjoy though is that this book has no female characters whatsoever. I'm still trying to investigate why that is and why the author decided to take that route. But if we disregard that for a minute, it was so fun and I cannot wait to dive into the rest of the series. Another book that is definitely on my favorites is Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin. This book is so, I feel like one of the main criteria that I use to put books in this list is just that I had a lot of fun reading them, and I just fangirled throughout the entirety of this book. It follows Lou. She is a witch that decided to stop using magic because where she lives is a place that witches are not wanted, and they're hunted and killed, and she decides to willingly stop using magic, and then she finds herself under very dire circumstances that force her to marry a witch hunter. So by that synopsis, you would think that this would be a very intense book, and to a sort of degree it is, but the character of Lou is so funny and she's so witty and just light that it makes this book so fun. And even though there are many things that are discussed that I think that are relevant here, especially when it comes to having these very problematic ideals and how we can change them, especially in the character of Reed, which is the witch hunter, I think that the author dealt with them in a very wonderful way, and it was just super fun and a great romance. I think this is a duology. I'm not really sure, but the next book is going to be coming this year, 2020, I think. So I am really excited to just read the sequel and get to see where these characters end up in. And then I think this may very well be my favorite book of the year, and it's definitely one of my favorite books of all time, and that is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I did not expect to love this as much as I did. I remember beginning the book and being very bored, but it's a great book. If you guys don't already know, this is a classic, and it follows the life of Jane Eyre herself, and we get to see her as she grows up in her aunt's home. She's not very loved, and because of this, her aunt takes her to a sort of very religious school, and she is also not very happy there, so she decides to advertise and become a governess for Mr. Rochester's adopted daughter. And yeah, it's great. I have about 2 or 3 videos just fangirling about this book and how much I loved it, and one of the things that I really want to do in this this year is to read a lot more from Charlotte Bronte, because I enjoyed her writing and her story so much, and I loved it so much, and I have no words to describe how much this book means to me, and it's definitely my favorite of the year. I have watched all the adaptations. The BBC miniseries for me is the best, and I love it. I love the romance. I think that what I enjoy the most is Jane Eyre's character, and how she has grown up not being loved, and how this has shaped her perspective and her morals. It's just great, and it's such a good book. And I don't know, I think this may very well be my most prized possession. Is it? I think so. I enjoyed it. I love this so much, and I'm definitely gonna be rereading it sometime soon, because this is just, I loved it so much. As for the rest of the books, most of them read them or listened to them on audiobook, so I think that all 3 of them are non-fiction. The first one is Becoming by Michelle Obama. I think that everyone loved this book last year, and it's the memoir of Michelle Obama. She was the first Black lady of the United States, and you get to see her as she narrates her own life, just growing up in Chicago up until becoming the first Black lady of the United States, and yeah, and then a little bit afterwards. So this was great. I think it was very inspiring, and I think that sadly, because of the time in which we live in which everything is just social media, we kind of lose a sense of people's struggle to reach their goals. And as we see her narrate her entire career, academic life, we get to see that Michelle Obama had a lot of struggles, and I kind of resonated with some of them. So I just love this book so much, and I think that it's a must read for everyone, especially if you really enjoy memoirs. It's on the longer side, but I think that it's very well paced and it's never boring. So great. And if you have access to the audiobook, I really do recommend it as well. Then the other memoir that I read was Hunger by Roxane Gay. This is again her memoir, and it's eye-opening in so many ways. It deals a lot with body image and rape culture, and Roxane Gay has a way of kind of introducing these topics in the midst of her narrating her life. So it's very, I think that it talks a lot about body image and the way that women are seen and perceived and are persuaded to do things to their bodies just to fit with how society wants a woman to be. And it's great, it's eye-opening, and I really do recommend it. It's great. I think I have said it so many times, but I really want this year to read a lot more from Roxane Gay. So she's a feminist writer, and yeah, great, amazing work. And finally, the last book that I really want to recommend is The Moment of Lift by Melinda Gates. I really enjoyed this book, guys, and I did a review on it as well, so I will link it up here in the cards. And it's not a memoir, it's just Melinda Gates bringing to light women's issues not only in the United States but throughout the world, and how kind of addressing and helping women through these issues will ensure that the world has a better life. So it's great. I think that it talks about so many issues that I didn't even know about. I'm not gonna talk much into it because I did a whole review about it, but it's great and I loved it and I really enjoyed it, and I wish that she would do more books about this. And I just found out that her husband Bill Gates is doing a book on climate change, so I'm really also excited to read his thoughts on how we can tackle this just huge emergency that is going on around the world. So yeah, those are the books that are in my list. Again, I think that this list is shorter than my previous favorites of the year list, and I'm kind of happy about that. I think that some of the books that I mentioned in my previous video, some are still favorites, they're good books, but they're not my all-time favorites anymore. So I'm trying to be a lot more picky as to the books that I really did enjoy. And yeah, let me know if you read any of these and also your favorites of the year. I would love to hear about them. And just thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys with the next video. Bye.